So this is called the rewriting of Einstein's relativity. As I've pointed out in a previous video, Einstein didn't treat his first wife, Mileva, very well, and Mileva probably contributed to Einstein's paper on special relativity and wasn't given any credit. And this would mean that Einstein didn't fully understand special relativity by himself. It then opened up special relativity being written by later contributors without Einstein properly understanding or noticing this was happening. Thus we end up with Einstein 1905 paper in the original German being different to what it was translated to in the English, with the mainstream then going by the mistranslation rather than the original. And this is the paper from Einstein in 1905. It was entitled On the Electrodynamics of Moving Bodies. And what is shown here is the usual translation of Einstein's paper into English. When we look on that English translation, we find these footnotes, and it gives these footnotes without mentioning who is giving these footnotes. However, this is from the British Journal for the Philosophy of Science, and it notes it was probably a person called Sommerfeld that made those footnotes. This is what Wikipedia says about Sommerfeld. He was a German theoretical physicist who lived from 1868 to 1951. So Sommerfeld most likely gave these footnotes in the English translation of Einstein's paper on relativity. And as pointed out in my other videos, such as the one cited here, Einstein's paper was mistranslated into English. These footnotes from must have been Sommerfeld are complementary with that mistranslation. So there was a bias in translating Einstein from German into English in a specific way, and the footnotes are complementing that mistranslation. Thus, Einstein's theory changed from how it was presented in German to how it was translated into English. The footnotes and the mistranslation are changing the theory, and all this was most likely done by Sommerfeld. And the mistranslation is what the mainstream goes by. Thus the theory was rewritten very early on. And so the development of special relativity from Einstein's 1905 paper on it included adding such things to it as Minkowski spacetime. And Wikipedia is saying that was done in 1907. However, effectively, the theory had been rewritten by the English mistranslation, and these extra things that are added to it, such as Minkowski space-time, are then being added to the mistranslation. Time-wise, the translation of the 1905 paper was about the 1920s. So, if relativity theory was a joint effort by Einstein and his wife, then maybe he was not knowledgeable enough about the theory to notice that it had been rewritten from what he said in the 1905 paper. Or then maybe he noticed something was amiss when he said this. This is a quote of Einstein. "Since the mathematicians have invaded the theory of relativity, I do not understand it myself anymore." And one of those mathematicians might have been Sommerfeld. So Einstein might have been noticing that relativity suddenly became different to what he was talking about, and he was getting confused by that. So thank you. That's the end of this little talk. I've highlighted that what Einstein and maybe his wife are saying in the original paper of 1905, which is in German, it's not how it has been translated into English. It's been translated as something different. So what you have there is a rewriting of Einstein's relativity from a very early stage. Thank you. The end.